and welcome to my review of chapter 842 of One Piece, The Power of Fullness, I think the chapter was called, but that's not really important. What's important is what happened in the chapter. We're just gonna go through, like, not chronological, but just, like, take each storyline for itself. So I'm gonna start talking about Nami and Luffy and what happened on their side of the story. We find out that, that Nami has been helping Luffy, so she, makes her weather thing, makes it rain, makes the biscuits softer so that Luffy can eat them because before they were too hard to eat. So that's really great that they were working together because I kind of thought that Nami would have left at this point, but that makes sense because Luffy needs her there. So basically that's why he's been eating all these biscuits, because of course if he can eat them then Cracker can't use them. And we go a little bit back and forth, we have some banter, not really important. What's important is that we see that Luffy goes Gear 4th again, and this time he uses a different form of Gear 4th, which is interesting because a lot of people have been speculating that Gear 4th has 3 different forms, one for each of the animals that he trained with Rayleigh back on the island, which name I can't pronounce, so I'm just gonna not do that. So far we've seen his Bound Man transformation, which he used against the Flamenco, and he started off using against Cracker, and now we see that he has another form which is called Tank Man, right? Yeah. And basically what I get from this is that of course we have, if they're based on these 3 animals, so the gorilla, the crocodile, and the lion. I think that Bound Man is based off the gorilla because we have things like Kongan, so that would make sense if that was based off of the gorilla monkey dude. Dude, it's an animal. And then the, and of course that Bound Man, it enhances strength because that was his whole problem with the Flamingo. Luffy was quick enough to get hits in, but he wasn't strong enough to actually do any damage because, you know, our man Haki and his strings and all of that shit. So that's why Bound Man was a good, like, way to make up for that because it enhanced his muscles. Tank Man, of course, has to be somewhat different. What I think it does, because it all has to do with muscle, but I think it it's different the way the muscles are used. So with Bound Man, it makes him stronger, like legit stronger, so there's more force behind his attacks. I think with Tank Man, it enhances his like durability. So we see that even when Cracker attacks him, his attack doesn't go through because he's still rubbery, but he's also hard. Which still was a thing that was a thing when he fought the Flamenco, but I think this is like even more so because they have to be different somehow. And at first I was like, well, they're different because they look different, but then I remembered, oh well, the Haki is actually placed in the exact same places, and the reason that Luffy is really round is because he ate a lot. So I don't think that, yeah, we can judge how different the 2 forms look until Luffy is actually not fat. So I think that it's just like how he uses the Haki and how he uses like the muscle thing. Because I think it would be durability, and that would then be based on the crocodile, because crocodiles have like harder and more durable skin, right? And then the last form would then be from the lion, which would be something I have no clue. But yeah, does that make any sort of sense to any of you? So that Pound Man is like force, strength, and the Tank Man is like durability, maybe, somehow? Because he does become like a human trampoline when he sends Cracker off. And that's something like he would need this form to be able to do. So if his durability is stronger, you know this from rubber, that the harder it is for like for you to stretch the rubber apart, the better your slingshot would be. Like, if it's hard to do that with, whatever you try to fling across the room, it gets further away. So I think that's the logic behind that. But let's move on from that, because while Gear 4th version 2 was really interesting, we can't really talk about it that much. Okay, let me then go to Carrot and Chopper, because that's literally just 1 page, and I feel like it was kind of just in there because Oda needed some extra material for the chapter to be somewhat long enough. Because it felt a little random that it was in there. We just see that Chopper and Carrot are still in the mirror world, and they are getting chased around by Brûlé. And they have been like walking or running past all of these citizens' mirrors, and they've been spooked out. I think the one thing that we should take from this is that they are slowly moving closer to the castle, because they have moved from the Seducing Woods and to the capital, Sweet City, so they are getting closer and closer to the castle, which is interesting because that's where Sanji is heading off to now, so yeah. That's, I think, what we should take from this, because nothing really happened, let's be honest here. So we go to Sanji again, we keep going back to Sanji when I least expect us to, but yeah, we go back to Sanji, and he's been beat up, so Rachel gives him a face mask, which heals, well, it doesn't heal him, it just stops the swelling so that he looks fine, but he isn't really fine. And I can't figure out if that's just like a way for Oda to explain why he suddenly has a magical face mask, or if that's gonna be an issue later, so he's gonna be sensitive in his face. His face is gonna be sensitive, and that'll be a problem because I don't know. Anyway, that I can't figure out if that's a plot point or just a weird explanation. You make that choice. I don't really care at this point. Then we have Reiju kind of. She smiles a lot in this chapter. Let me just start off with that. But she tells Sanji that, like, basically, I told you so. If you came back here, you'd just suffer again. Which is true. She did say that you board that ship and you don't look back, you don't come back here, and then people will treat you well, because we definitely won't. She does say this all while smiling, so again, we can't figure out what the hell she's thinking. Again, as I said, don't put her in a box. She's not good, she's not evil, she's just something else. She's in a grey zone, because every human being is in a grey zone. You can't be entirely black or white. But it's still interesting how she's like, yeah, well, this is the extent of my help you're gonna get. Like, I will put this face mask on you and I will heal your wounds as, to the best of my abilities, but I won't really help you. And there could be 17,000 reasons for her to say this. Like, she could be legit and actually mean every word of it. She could be lying because she doesn't want Sanji to know that she's lying. She could be lying because she doesn't want whoever is spying on her that she's lying. Or she could just lie because that's what she used to. And I mean, at this point, who really believes that Reiju is always telling all the truth? I have pointed this out before, that she lied to the Straw Hats when she met them the first time, telling them that, oh well, ever since we lost Sanji those 13 years back, our father has been looking for him, and I'm so glad that Sanji's back now. I mean, everything she says in this chapter completely contradicts what she said in that chapter when we met her for the first time. So she's definitely lying. The question is just why. I think I put my theories out there. Basically, I mean, I wanted her to be evil, now I just want her to not be at anyone's side. I want her to be a badass female warrior who does everything for her own gain. But we'll see now. She might change somewhat. I do think Sanji will have some sort of influence on her, because she's been surrounded by all these robots and now a human being is suddenly around her, talking to her, influencing her, so yeah. But let's stop talking about Reiju, because I always talk like 17 minutes about her. We have something about Chivalry. I'm gonna go back to that because I have a lot of emotions and feelings and opinions about this. So we have the departure where the Vinsmokes family, they go to Big Mom's castle because the exchanging of engagement gifts is coming up. Sanji is wearing some nice new clothes. He probably hates it. I really love it. He looks really nice. His brothers are basically wearing the same thing. Also, he's sitting in between Yunji and Niji, and then in front of them we have Iji and Reiju, and then in front of them we have Judge, so we have like the hierarchy, which is really nice. I mean, it's a really nice way for Oda to put Sanji in the middle without it being like, it's not even, it is kind of coincidental that it's like, yeah, okay, so we have the head judge, then we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But still somehow Sanji managed to be centered in this. I think that's really nice. Many people have speculated, and I'm a big fan of this theory, that the bomb that was sent to Big Mom when they were in Fishman Island, that's gonna come up now in the engagement of in the exchanging of engagement not rings, gifts. You know what I mean. Because obviously, like, she has a lot of things. She might give the thing to Judge, whatever, because it's treasure. It's not candy. She doesn't give a fuck about treasure if she can have candy, right? So she might give them that, and then it'll blow up in their face and then it'll start a war. I kind of want that to happen, but then again it's a bit too obvious, so it could be like one of the catalyzing factors in why they eventually drift apart, because I do really think that by the end of this arc we'll see a full-blown war between the Vinsmokes and the Big Mom family, because that's kind of the only way out of this wedding. The only way out, it's the only way I see that this ends with Sanji not being sad in the end because someone died or he's married. I could go into that, but I probably won't be a break next week, so maybe I'll talk about it there. Okay guys, but let's get into the chivalry thing, because we find out in this chapter where Sanji's chivalry comes from. And long story short, Sanji doesn't hurt women because Seth told him not to. And this does contradict something that Oda once said in the SBS, that Sanji's chivalry definitely does not come from Seth. And while that's like, okay, what the hell, Oda? He did also say once, in the One Piece screen book thing, that Sabo was dead. So I mean, and I don't trust when he says that Bonnie is only 22. I mean, I don't want to go into Bonnie theories, but I don't think we should take everything for granted that is being said outside of the canon material that we get from the actual manga. So while we have that weird thing, I am really happy that Sanji's chivalry does not come from the fact that his mother and his sister were relatively good to him when he was younger. I really do like the fact that he got it from somewhere else. That he got it from, or somehow else, but that he got it from Seth is a little disappointing as well, but it's, for me, indefinitely better than him getting it from his mother and Reiju. For me at least. I mean, I don't know how many of you will agree with that, but I like that. Also, it's kind of poetic, because the thing about Sanji is that everything about him is it's Seth's teachings. He said it himself, he was born in the north but he was raised in the east, because the one who raised him to be the person that he is was Seth. Everything about him, his way of cooking, his way of fighting, his way of just being as a person, it's Seth who's responsible for that. So we can blame Seth for Sanji's weird sexistic the way he treats women. But I also think that this is kind of a good thing. Because so far everything that Seth has taught Sanji has been like, yeah, be a good person and do that, feed the hungry, yada yada, have morals as a chef, don't fight with your hands and stuff like that. And while that's really good, everyone has flaws, and for Seth to then give Sanji this huge flaw in his life where he can't fight women, I think that's somehow really great, because no parent is perfect, and Seth didn't ask for a child, he just got one when he found Sanji. And yeah, and when it comes down to it, Seth was a pirate, so of course he's not gonna be a perfect person, no one is, and pirates least of all, like, they're actually criminals. I mean, Luffy is close to being perfect, but let's be real, he's probably not. What was my point with this? Oh yeah. But basically, the thing that makes Seth, like, not the perfect parent here is not only that he taught Sanji that, okay, men shouldn't beat women because that's sexism, that's not a good thing. But it's also because he doesn't know Sanji's past. And he doesn't know that for Sanji, all he has is Seth. Like, Seth is his parent, right? He says this on multiple occasions. Like, maybe not directly, but he says this. And him treating women the way that he does, like, it's not even that he doesn't hurt women, like, he treats them with extreme care, and like, it's ridiculous how differently he treats women than men, right? But in the end, it's all a coping mechanism, because he knew from the moment Seth said that if he should ever hurt a woman, Seth would cut him off, and he finally has this family in Seth that he's always wanted. That it's probably something he's always desired, because his siblings got the love from their father, and while he did get love from his mother, he only experienced it whenever he snuck out to see her, and eventually she died. So having Seth must have been so good for him, which means that he would do everything in his power to keep Seth and to always live up to his expectations. And while he was really patient with Sanji in like cooking and fighting and stuff like that, because Seth said, failing as a human being, that's fine, but failing as a man by hurting women, that's something I don't approve of. So it's a coping mechanism, which I find really fucking interesting, because that's actually something I have wanted, for a flaw that a person has to be a coping mechanism, because this isn't really Sanji's fault when we think about this. It's all Zeph's fault. Like, I'm not blaming, like, I like Zeph. Zeph is, I was about to say one of my favorite characters, he's not really. I don't even think he's in my top 30, but there are a lot of One Piece characters, so, like, but I really do like Zeph, and it's not his fault that Sanji turned out like this. He didn't know Sanji's family, he didn't know what Sanji came from, he just thought he was a novice chef, kitchen boy from a weird ship that happened to sink, and the two of them were the only survivors. So yeah. Coping mechanism, that's all I want to say about this. I hope I got through everything in this chapter. I definitely think that the chivalry thing and the Reiju constantly smiling thing are the most interesting points of this chapter. And of course we actually have the story moving forward now that we are kind of out of flashback mode. We keep getting small Sanji flashbacks, it's ridiculous. But yeah, we're moving forward because Luffy finally beat Cracker. We're finally going to meet Big Mom, like we have the Big Mom Vinsmoke tea party now. Let's call it tea party. Because I obviously can't pronounce the other thing. And Chopper and Carrot are moving closer to the castle. Brooke and Pedro should be inside the castle by now. They should be there. Yeah, they should arrive by morning or something. So yeah, the story's definitely moving forward at this point. Which is great. We have a lot of like great character revelations about Sanji and the Vinsmokes and them just being absolute douchebags. So yeah. Anyways, I think this is what I had to say about this chapter. If not, I can always make another video next week, because we are on break, and I'm sorry I just burped. We are on break. I have a theory video planned, Blackbeard related, and a bit more. You'll see, it's kind of complicated, but yeah, I have extra One Piece material planned for next week, so this break kind of fits very well with that plan. But yeah, what the hell was I talking about? Yeah, leave a like on this video if you liked anything that I had to say. What do you think about Sanji's origin of chivalry of... I don't know what I'm talking about. What do you think of the chivalry we got? Because I'm really interested in seeing how other people reacted to that. I feel like there are going to be a lot of opposing opinions on this. And yeah, you can subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of me for that One Piece theory video that I'm gonna put out next week. For reviews on Shuriken no Soma, Haikyuu, Boku no Hero Academia, I do those too. So yeah, there was a messy end of video. I don't care. Until next time, guys. Bye.